Let me ask you twice. Okay?
What's going on, you guys?
So, Laura.
It's the Michael Myers.
Yo.
Welcome back to a brand new live stream. I'm with my brother right now.
Cool.
You guys already know what's up, man. Today, it's the 15th, right? August 15. You guys already know, man. 20 years ago today, I just decided to do this quick live stream. Just a little dedicated live stream. You could say a watch along. I'm not sure if I'll be live, until the movie's finished. But me and my brother, man, we decided to pop it in, man, to watch Freddy versus Jason, which, as you guys know, turns 20 years old, man. Honestly, I really can't believe it. I can't believe it's been 20 years, man. I know I was still a kid when it came out originally, and but as you guys know, man, this movie, Freddy versus Jason, I even have the soundtrack here. Great stuff, man. But you guys know me, man. Freddy versus Jason was personally the movie that got me into horror, man, for sure. That's why Freddy versus Jason. Let me turn it down a bit. That's why this movie it holds a special place in my heart for sure, because like I said, it really it got me into horror. I remember as a kid, it was playing on AMC or whatever, AMC Fear Fest, and yeah, man, I was just stuck onto the TV for sure. So yeah, like I said, I was too young at the time. I was too young to remember the impact this movie had. Of course, at the time, I'm pretty sure they did great promotion, man, great marketing for this movie. So yeah, like I said, I was too young to remember, so I can't tell you how it was for the audiences. Obviously, for a lot of the audiences, for a lot of the fans, it was like a dream come true, because since the 80s, of course, we got the Nightmare series, the Friday series. There's a pretty cool death scene, of course. Jason doing his best, what he's best at. But yeah, man. I mean, like I said, this movie, from what I've done research on this movie, like I said, it's the movie that got me into horror. So I've definitely done a lot of research throughout the years, man. And I guess Freddy versus Jason, it was in development. I'm not since the 80s. Like I said, we got the Friday movie, we got the Nightmare movies. I guess that was a dream for a lot of the fans, man. For them to come together and go against each other. But yeah, man. I mean, happy birthday to Freddy versus Jason, man. Like I said, 2003, 20 years, man. Definitely I remember as a kid, man, I feeling when I probably was introduced to Freddy versus Jason, I will say probably around 2006, 2007-ish. And that's not for sure, but it was around that time. I was still a kid. So at that time, it was still kind of a recent movie. That's why now, like I said, I was still too young to remember the impact, when it was released, but it really doesn't feel, like 20 years, if you ask me. Porn star JR, what's up, man? Glad you made it on it. Yeah, I love Freddy versus Jason, man. Like I said, I do have issues with the movie for sure. There's a few things, a lot of people, you could say, consider this kind of like a done, that was the whole idea of it. Pretty much, these icons come together, they kill the shit out of each other, this bloodbath, which it was. A lot of people, I seen people don't like it because growing up, I never understood the hate. I never understood the hate. You either love it or you hate it. You either love it or hate it. So I remember, I do see, either people love it or people dislike it. But like I said, growing up as a kid, I never understood it, man. I never understood it. Of course, once I got older, you pick on new things. Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, that isn't like. There's a lot of things. Like I said, this movie has issues with. But to me, man, as a movie, as a storyline, like as a storyline and stuff, like the story could have been better. But I don't think that was the point. I think the point of this movie is a fun movie, so we could get to to the end, the final battle and stuff like that. Which, like I said, it's the point of the movie. I think they did a great job with when I first saw it on TV as a kid, it was like it was like one of the best shit I've ever seen. Like all these great effects and stuff. The goriness, but like they did a good job with that. As far as the fight, the climax, the way it builds up, it has that for sure. But yeah, so for a lot of people, it was really long awaited. Brandon loves the movies. Yeah, man. I agree. Time really does fly, man. Like I said, there's a lot of movies that came out early 2000s around this same time. Like, for example, just the other day, The Ring, the first Ring movie, 2002, I think, or 2003. But the first Ring remake, it's been 20 years for that one as well, man. Like a lot of those early 2000 movies, it's like 20 years, man. And then we're gonna trickle down to the late 2000s, which is, you could say, my era, the late 2000s, when I got into horror. Sure. Like even in a few years, those films are gonna be 20 years. Which, like I said, time really does fly, dude. Honestly. But yeah, man, this is one of those films, Freddy versus Jason, that I would love to watch in the theaters. I wish, since it's the 20th anniversary, I wish some theaters were showing it right now. Because I know they do that. They're gonna have one for The Exorcist 50th anniversary. I can't wait to go see that. House of a Thousand Corpses. That's right. Yeah, they're gonna be playing House of a Thousand Corpses as well, man. It turns 20 years old this year, which, like I said, it's crazy. Even House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, they feel kind of like recent movies. So, yeah, man, that's dope. That's dope. It's crazy. I was 8 years old when this came out. Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. I know a lot of people were, I've seen from, talking to people and stuff like that. Many people were really young at the time. So, it's understandable. Like I said, I was young, so this kind of movie, this kind of versus fun, even though the whole crossover thing might not be the greatest idea, it could be silly. I mean, a lot of them don't work. I think, honestly, this is the best versus movie, in my opinion. I like the original Godzilla versus Kong. I can't, like, and also another popular one, Alien versus Predator. I know my brother, he has seen them, but I personally haven't seen them, so I can't say, so I'm not really sure where I'm at there. But as of right now, man, this is probably the best versus movie for me. And I'm pretty sure it probably is the best. When it comes to the horror genre and stuff like that, or not just horror genre, but I think like of all time. So I'm pretty sure at the time, man, with the marketing promotion, I'm pretty sure the buildup was real. Machete Slasher, what's up, dude? Gonna watch it tonight. Hey, that's dope, man. Hey, for the past few days, I've been seeing a lot of Freddy versus Jason posts, man. So, I figured the anniversary was coming up, and all I knew for sure was that it was August 2003, and then, of course, today is the 15th, which was the official day it came out. As we know, this was Robert Englund's last performance as Freddy. I like the fact they made Freddy, you could say, more sinister in this one. They made him more sinister. I know in the previous Nightmares, the ones that came out a little bit before this movie, Freddy was kind of a silly character, once we got to the sequels. But I'm glad with this one, man. He wasn't like as comical as the sequels, I think that really would have made the movie more cheesy, you know what I mean? That scene's always great, man. A lot of the kills, man, like I said, they're really standouts. The whole movie is a standout for me, man. The cast, I like the cast. I mean, they're not the greatest. For example, Monica Keena, who plays Lori, she was a little off, but it's the typical, like you could say she kind of falls into the typical, final girl or heroine. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, interesting. So yeah, machete slasher. That's definitely a mandatory for sure thing, man. Like I said, as a matter of fact, this is like probably one of the most rewatchable movies for me for sure, man. Um, yeah, most definitely, because like I said, it's just a fun movie, and probably the last time I watched it before right now was like, do you remember when was the last time we watched it?
What?
Like a month ago, 2 months ago,
Sure.
something like that. Yeah, so it's really like this movie's like I have it already familiar, you know. But yeah, man, new Psycho movie coming our way. Horror fan, is that right? Is that right, man? I haven't heard the news. There's a new Psycho movie was just announced or what? Oh wow, man, wow. I hope it's not connected to the original classic. 20-year-old now. Wow, I saw Freddy versus Jason in theaters as a free event with a small poster. I'd like to see a sequel. Unstable Freak. That's awesome, man. Hey, like I said, this is one of those movies I would love to experience, man, in the big screen for sure. Um, yeah, man, that's dope. That's dope. Um, a sequel, hey man, I know the whole sequel thing, it was like I guess planned for some time or whatever. I'm not sure if it was like a for sure thing. They were for sure in the talks, that's for sure, because this movie was pretty damn successful. Heck, it was the most successful movie out of both franchises. It definitely broke records in the box office. So yeah, a sequel would have been, I would have loved to see it. Like I said, even though obviously the sequel probably wouldn't have been as great as Freddy versus Jason. But hey, man, I would have loved to see more of that. I would have loved to see more of that personally. But yeah, man, for sure. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they were. I'm pretty sure they wanted to. I'm pretty sure they wanted to because, like I said, it was a box office hit. So yeah, man. Unfortunately, the series got both franchises got remade that same decade, which is weird, man. I always found that strange. Obviously, like I said, late 2000s was like my time. When I started getting into horror, so the remakes were kind of recent movies. But like I said, as a kid, it was cool that like I really liked the fact that we got the remakes at the time. Even though they were not great, but I was still like I really liked it. I liked the fact that we have, because as a kid, you know, um, it was pretty cool. But I always found it strange, man, that why how come they got rebooted? Probably for that same reason, since Freddy versus Jason was successful, it was a hit. I feel like they rushed it to get it remade. They didn't even wait 10 years. So I always found it strange, man. I felt like they were remade too soon. Uh, like I said, Freddy versus Jason was still recent when in 2009 when the remake came out. So yeah, I always found that strange, man. But like I said, they were probably trying to cash in. At that time, that it was popular. The numbers were there. But yeah, if you ask me, they got remade too early. Nightmare on Elm Street remake. If that movie came out like 5, 10 years after 2010, I think people would have liked it more. It would have been accepted more, if you ask me. But yeah, man. I mean, it's great hearing your guys' story. You know, um, on where you were, your little stories. That brings us back to this moment. When you first saw Freddy versus Jason, or when you went to go see Freddy versus Jason. Like I think all of us, we carry on that experience for sure, man. And like I said, for a movie like this, man, I'm pretty sure the build up was real. At that time, early 2000s was like still like the marketing, the promotion for movies were really like more exciting than nowadays. For sure. Like you would see more marketing out there, and stuff like that. Brandon loves the movies. It's a good modern age slasher movie with some tits and stage blood. It's good at what it does, the opening and the ending, especially, man. Yeah, man, it does its job. Like Brandon said, we get some tits, we get some bloodbath, we get two of our favorite icons. Like, what more can you really ask for? You know, like I said, the story might lack here and there. I'll give you a few more issues. I wasn't the biggest fan of how they watered down the Jason character. Honestly, to this day, I still think it should have been Kane Hodder. It was good that they gave a new guy, Ken Kersinger, if I'm not mistaken. Um, it was great that they gave him an opportunity to play Jason. You know, from what I heard, I think the director Ronnie Yu, which he also directed Bride of Chucky, and as a kid, uh, Freddy versus Jason, Bride of Chucky were like one of the very first few horror films I've seen on AMC Fear Fest. Like I still remember that to this day. Like one will end and then the next movie that comes on, it's Freddy versus Jason. Like I do remember that, and that kind of explains, you could say the similar vibe Bride and Chucky and Seed of Chucky had. I mean, Bride of Chucky and Freddy versus Jason have. If you really pay attention, I mean, they're only 5 years apart. They kind of have that same style, that same vibe, it's the reason that it's Ronnie Yu directed them. But yeah, from what I heard, I guess Ronnie Yu, he was the one. They went through a lot of like, they went through a lot of writers, a lot of directors. Like I said, this movie's been in development since the 80s. Since the 80s, the franchises were popular, in the 80s. Until, of course, New Line Cinema bought the rights to Jason. They made it happen after many years of, I guess, going back and forth. And then that's when we got Jason Goes to Hell. But yeah, from what I heard, the Ronnie Yu, the director, of course, he was a new director, so he kind of wanted like a fresh new take. Like he wanted to do something new, you know. I guess for the Jason character. So he went with Ken Kersinger, which he did a good job. I just don't like the fact that he's this humongous Frankenstein Jason. Like that's what I call Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. I call him the Frankenstein Jason because of the freaking Frankenstein boots he wears. Like I'm pretty sure Ken Kersinger he's already a tall guy. So by them giving him the Frankenstein boots, like it was kind of silly. It was kind of silly. Um, but yeah, dude. But I to this day I still think it should have been Kane Hodder, for sure. I've seen a lot of horror. I'm 48. Horror fan. Interesting, man. That's really interesting. Yeah. Once you hit a certain age, I'm pretty sure a lot of films. You come across a lot of films. That's great. That's a great thing, man. Um, I think people just see it as another Dracula movie. Retelling and marketing makes it seem generic. AB James. You know what, AB James? I've heard of the new Dracula movie, but just like you said, people probably and that's the main. I'm not the biggest fan, of the whole Dracula movies. There's like a lot, There's, of course, to me, when I think of Dracula, I think of the original 1941, if I'm not mistaken, the original Universal Dracula. And I know after that, once the decades go, we get more Dracula movies, more Dracula movies. That's why I never really cared for them, because, and I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'm pretty sure that's the case with the new one. A lot of people consider it that, but yeah, that's probably the case, man. That's probably the case. Like heck, I heard, like I said, I heard a little bit about a new Dracula movie coming out, but it's not like I invested my time or I dug deep, to see what's it about. But that's interesting, man. That's interesting. Freddy versus Jason has some of the worst dialogue and acting of both movies that that I've never seen, but it's still a fun movie to watch. Unstable Freak. I agree, man. Yeah, like I said, the cast you could say a bit. I wouldn't say over the top, but cheesy. Like I said, the lines, uh, and stuff like that. But like I said, the whole point, if this was more of a story grounded, which it is, it has, that connection, you could say, to the original. You could say more to the original Nightmare series than the Friday series. Like the story's there, the connection's there. But if it was a more grounded story kind of movie, uh I think that's when that's when I think they should have got went for a new cast. More, you could say cast you could say we believe in, we could relate to, or whatever. But since, like I said, for this movie, it wasn't that case. It didn't really matter, if the characters were you could say bland, or cheesy and stuff like that. But I agree, dude. I agree. I seen Freddy versus Jason. It was a fun, memorable, theatrical experience. AB James, I could only imagine, man, for sure. I could only imagine, especially as a kid, man. Especially as a kid, I'm pretty sure for adults at the time, it was kind of like a dream come true. Like, of course, in the 80s, those adults grew up with Freddy and Jason, so it was kind of like a dream come true. But I think for the younger audiences, for the kids who like saw that in the theaters, it was just even a more like incredible experience, I feel, But yeah, man, especially for a kid, a child, that memory, that experience, I think, will always be there. You know what I mean? For sure.
When's the last time you even had a nightmare? I don't know. I can't remember my dreams anymore. Look, just give me one night, okay?
Yeah, that's true, Brandon. Yeah, that's very true, for sure. You know, that's what this is one of those movies that
Your ass is back here, my dog.
you know,
Done that?
like the whole explaining things. You could say, um, they try to do that here, but sometimes all that, is not really needed. So sometimes, it has to be left to the audience to pick up, where it wants to go and stuff like that. The volume of remakes. AB James, I agree, man. I totally agree. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Um, that's how much, I guess, ideas have run out, right? Yeah, and those films are good examples of it. Like, for sure. Give it a few more years, we're gonna get more remakes. Remakes that have already been remade. Movies that have been remade, which sucks. I prefer more original horror films. I think that's what could make these filmmakers movies stand out these days, man. It just come with something new from the gate, something fresh, instead of another remake. But yeah, that's very true, man. It's like, you could say the 2000s was like the remake era for horror, but now, man, we're getting remakes to everything outside of horror, and I think that's what's watering it down, I feel. Yeah, man, I agree. A lot of these films should be left alone, man. For example, the new Exorcist movie. I know it's not a remake, it's a requel, pretty much, but just, I don't know, just the whole idea is dumb, man. Like, what happened to movies that stand the test of time? Exorcist still stands the test of time. Carrie, a lot of these stuff. So it's unnecessary. The Crow needs to be left. Hey, man, I agree. Aren't they doing the Crow remake right now? I've been hearing for a few years that they were gonna do the Crow remake. That Bill Skarsgård was supposed to play him. was supposed to play Eric Draven. I think is that in development right now. But yeah, dude, that's a perfect example of movies should be that should be left alone. Jaws, um, Exorcist, Nightmare on Elm Street, um, The Crow. A lot of these movies, man, that should just be left alone. That should have been left alone. Like I said, Nightmare on Elm Street, Carrie should have been left alone. Pet Cemetery, The Fog, Black Christmas. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, dude, The Crow's a great film. I haven't seen it in a while, but hey, man, it definitely is one of the more you could say more what's that word I'm looking for? That more grounded, or not grounded, but more. Rest in peace to what was his name? Bruce Lee's son, who was in it. I apologize. I think I'm blinking out on his name right now. But rest in peace to him, man. Um, yeah, man. It's crazy. Ronnie Yu wanted a new slower Jason was his idea. Yeah, like I said, I've heard Ronnie Yu was the one who made the change with the Jason character. Like I said, I don't really like Jason in this, man. I just think they watered him down. They made him scared of water. Like, what the hell, man? Like, I want to see badass Kane Hodder's Jason go against Freddy. I don't know if they wanted to give Freddy, you could say, that advantage. But I don't know, dude. I don't know. I would have loved to see Kane Hodder. Like, I would love to see for example, the Jason Goes to Hell version of Jason go against Robert Englund's Freddy. Like, that's what I was expecting, or that's what I would love to see. I would have loved to see, even though, like I said, dope fight, great stuff, but still, man. But it is what it is. I love The Bride of Chucky. Bride of Chucky, man. I've grown to like that movie. Like I said, it's one of the early movies I've seen. Like I said, right behind Freddy vs. Jason. At first, it was a silly movie. I didn't really like it. The idea is like, but it's definitely better than a lot of the Chucky movies that came out afterwards. So I give Bride of Chucky its credit, man, for sure. For sure. Ken also talked about watching Universal Frankenstein monster films. Yeah. Oh, Brandon. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah. So yeah, for sure. If Ken was like, I'm pretty sure he mentioned that. It makes total sense. You could say his own version, his own depiction of Jason. Which, like I said, I don't mind. Like I said, it was still dope. As a matter of fact, this is one of not my favorite. It's definitely, you could say, my top five, maybe top three looks of Jason for sure. Like, the look of him, uh, definitely is a standout in Freddy vs. Jason. Just the whole the shoot, the boots. Just not that. I wasn't a fan of that, but yeah, for sure it makes sense. That was Kane Hodder's hand from Freddy at the end of the movie. That's right, porn star. Yeah, that's very true. Kane Hodder actually was the one wearing the glove at the end of Jason Goes to Hell. Like I said, man, the whole build up, the whole build up to yeah, that's true. The whole build up to the movie, like with Jason Goes to Hell, which came out 10 years before this movie. Like, yeah, man, I feel like once New Line Cinema got Jason Goes to Hell rolling, and ended it the way they did. That's when the hype was real. But yeah, man, was 1931. By the way, I rewatched it last week on my Blu-ray box set. It's a classic. Oh, for sure, Brandon. Yeah, I think I said 1941, right? But okay, that's good that you corrected me. 1931. Yeah, man, I love, like, to me that's Dracula. To me, like, I know there's a lot of adaptations in the 80s, 90s, in the 70s, in the 2000s. So yeah, man, that's why a lot of those movies haven't been standouts to me, you know. But yeah, I guess there's a new one. I guess there's a new one, and I'm not surprised if that's the case. If it really flopped, you know, I think that's mostly the case. Brandon Lee, there we go. Yeah, rest in peace, man. Rest in peace for sure. Definitely left an impact with his movie. You know, The Crow. I always thought this was funny. You know, when you could say Freddy's trying to like get his victim, and then Jason beats him to the punch. But yeah, dude, awesome stuff. Curtis Smith, what's up, man? What's up, bro? Glad you made it on here. Just right here, man, chopping it up, talking about some Freddy versus Jason. I can't believe, like I said, I can't believe it's been 20 years old. Um, are you talking about Freddy versus Jason, my favorite cross horror movie, man? Yeah, for sure. It's probably my favorite crossover of all time. You know, for sure, man. 20 years old today, great. Yeah, man. It was. I thought it was like I said to a lot of people. To a lot of people, the whole idea was like kind of dumb or whatever. But I'm pretty sure to a lot of people, man, in the '80s that grew up with franchises, this is dope, man. I always like this scene. Jason on fire. Hell yeah, man. So yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was a dream come true, man, for a lot of people. Um, give me a quick second, guys. Give me a quick second. I'm gonna put the camera down for a little bit. Hold on. So, talk to him. Talk to him. It's like, what do you think about the movie? I'm talking to my brother. What do you think about it, huh?
Yeah, that's cool.
Quick second, guys. Quick second. I just like this scene, man. I know it's Jason slashing the shit out of people, you know, the typical, the ordinary, but it's great, dude. It's awesome. Even the soundtrack, man. Like I said, I showed you guys the Freddy vs. Jason soundtrack. Great music.
But
Yeah, you got the, what's his name? Freeberg, the character. He was always funny, dude.
We need to find the police. No, fuck the police. Just take me home, man.
Yeah, man. Interesting stuff, man. For like I said, Freddy vs. Jason. I love this film. It's a solid movie. It's a decent movie. It's a fun movie. So I can't complain, man. I can't complain. Like I said, I have issues, but I can't. I don't press the issues. You know what I mean? Got Monica Keena. Like I said, she's kind of your typical heroine, final girl. You know,
right.
blonde chick. But yeah, man. Like I said, I don't think it needed. Like, I don't think it like it's one of those cases where people came to see, so they wouldn't care if like the cast is bland or you know their lines are cheesy, since you know we're coming to this movie to see Freddy and Jason fight. So that's why it's not the biggest deal. Of course, she's the final girl in both franchises.
Look, I tried to tell you this earlier.
But yeah, man. I mean, even the chemistry with what's his name, Jason Ritter,
It's because I saw
it's there. You know, it's just a lot of the lines, the dialogue, the you know, a lot of the stuff could be off. But yeah, and it's interesting, man, because if they would have made a sequel, I'm pretty sure they would have continued with them. You know.
I saw him kill her.
Get out of the van.
No way! You can't trust him, Lori. Whatever you do, don't go home with him.
But yeah, man, Freddy versus Jason, dope stuff. How Can I Live by El Nino? Yeah, man. Hey, I love that song. I love the whole soundtrack. I love the whole soundtrack, man. I thought the music really fits and of course at this time they were still using rock. They were still using rock songs, rock music in horror movies. I don't know. It just, you could say, made the music like that's the main reason I like rock. Um, that's the main reason I got into rock music is because the association with the horror movies. Like I said, this is one of my very first favorite rock music right here. So yeah, you could say the horror movies made the soundtrack like more. It opened up to more people. You know what I mean? But yeah, guys. I mean, are you guys watching? Are you guys watching Freddy vs. Jason today or tonight?
You're upset. Both
Of course, you also got like the backstory. You got the backstory with the dad and stuff.
We'll talk about it in the morning.
There are other. Yeah, Curtis Smith. Yeah, for sure. Babba Scott, what's up, man? What's up? Yeah, man, for sure. There's a lot. There's a lot. You got Alien versus Predator, exactly. Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, which I have not seen. But yeah, man, for sure. We also got Frankenstein, which is, oh yeah, one of the classics, man. Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. As a matter of fact, I need to get that, man, on DVD. I have I have the main Universal monsters. I have Creature from the Black Lagoon, the original Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman. But I need to get Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, man, for sure. Of course, even the versus stuff was a trend back then, with the classic monsters. Sadako and Kayako, yeah, man. I actually that one was kind of silly. It was kind of weird movie. That's The Ring versus The Grudge. Yeah, remember we saw it. Remember we saw that. It's nothing to this caliber, nothing to this Freddy versus Jason caliber. Like I said, I don't think like the potential was there. Like I said, this was a hit. This was a hit. They if they really didn't give a shit and they were just going for the cash grab, and like I said, they didn't care about either or franchise. Like I said, there's various other characters they were trying to cross over. Michael and Pinhead, Dimension Films at the time owned the Halloween rights and the Hellraiser rights. They were trying literally. And I'm gonna do, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna do. If you guys remember my horror crossover video, I'm gonna do part 2 of that because that was a great successful video for me. So I will do a follow up. So stay tuned for that. But that was actually supposed to happen, man. Pinhead versus Michael before this movie came out. I think it was in the 90s, late 80s. I'm not sure. No, I don't think so. I don't think because I think Dimension didn't get the rights till the 90s to Halloween. But hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. That was supposed to happen. Like I said, the whole idea might be like I said, it back to what I was saying. If they didn't give a shit about either or franchise, they were doing it for the money. Like I said, it could have became a trend after this movie. They would have just done it. They would have just done it. But of course, I think if they kind of fell more into that, if they followed the trend, if they actually did Michael versus Pinhead and they did all of these Chucky versus Leprechaun, I just feel at this point, like if they would have followed this trend, at this point the horror genre, it probably wouldn't be where it's at right now, man. I think the horror genre, it would have been more watered down by now. You know what I mean? I think, because of course these cross movies, that's the point of it, the fun to it. So yeah, but at the same time, like, I know this is a big topic on the channel, crossovers. That's why I want to do that part two of horror movie crossovers. He was probably my favorite character, man. Mark was his name. I don't know. He's just a funny dude. Definitely the standouts. Sucks he died, you know? Interesting enough, this is the only Freddy Krueger's only kill in this movie. Right? Yeah, huh? Right? Yeah, this is the only person he kills. Of course, Jason beat him to the punch with the other ones. Joseph the horror guy, what's up, buddy? Hope you're watching Freddy versus Jason tonight, man. Turns 20 years old today. I had to pop it in, man. I had to pop it in. Most definitely. Doing pretty good, man. Like I said, popped in the movie. Definitely had to do it. I will make a Daniel Harris stream. Yeah, Joseph, I saw earlier. I saw you were on live, but I didn't. I was gonna check it out later, but I saw that it was gone. So yeah, man, for sure, we'll be looking forward to it. But yeah, man, like I said, if they would have continued this trend, like I said, it'll be great. I mean, it'll be dope. It'll be dope seeing more versus movies. Like I said, it's a lot of people's dream come true or whatever. But at the same time, I'm kind of also glad we didn't because, like I said, I don't think the genre would be where it's at right now. You know, I don't know. I just feel like people wouldn't take these, at least slashers. You know, wouldn't take the slasher characters as serious, man. Once they like afterwards, if they come out with another movie, I don't think it will be taken as serious. I know they're doing all this crossover stuff with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all this stuff, but this was like this could have been the start of something big. But of course, man, they went their own ways. Or I wouldn't say their own ways because they're both remakes are New Line Cinema. But of course, they went their own ways in by rebooting each of the franchises. But yeah, man. But I mean, that's gonna be pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to come hang out with you guys. Like I said, I don't think I'll be live for the rest of the movie. But I hope you guys are having a dope day, man. Hope you guys watch Freddy versus Jason. Like I said, 20 years old. Had to do a little 20 anniversary live stream. Like I said, this is the movie that got me into the whole franchise. Or to the whole genre, my bad. But yeah, man, I mean, that's going to be pretty much it. If you guys see this afterwards, comment down below. What do you think about Freddy vs. Jason? Appreciate all of you guys who took time to come hang out with me. Watch a little bit of Freddy vs. Jason with me. Shout out to all of you guys, man, who tuned in tonight. You guys take it safe. Stay tuned for more videos. It's the Michael Myers signing out. Happy 20 years old to Freddy vs. Jason.